Good morning and welcome to the Crandell Theatre. As a nonprofit community cinema, it is our honor to host the Berkshire Film Challenge and my pleasure to introduce Diane Perlman, Executive Director of the Berkshire Film and Media Collaborative. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone, and thank you. We're so excited that you're here for the Youth Film Challenge. It's been 8 months in the process. We got a call 8 months ago from Peter Taylor, the president of Berkshire Taconic, and said, there was this group, Civic Life Project, that did this great group of civic films right before, had youth do films about civics right before the election. And would you guys like to partner and maybe do something like that here? So we met Catherine Taggi and Dominique Lesueur, and we become fast friends. And along with Bess Hochstein from Berkshire Film and Media Collaborative, we've been working really hard the last 8 months to get this going. And also thanks to Betsy Morey and Justin Burke from Berkshire Taconic. So it really was a team effort. The Youth Film Challenge was interesting because it really was giving voice to our young people. What was important to them? What were the topics that were important to them? And we offered free classes, we offered free cameras. Like, what were the hurdles that were gonna keep them from doing this? And I had a lot of teachers and people who ran youth organizations say it's really hard right now. Kids don't wanna do things outside of school. So the fact that we had as many entries as we did, we had 12 semifinalists. You'll see 8 of the films today, and we have 2 of our winners here who will be part of the panel. So we're just thrilled. And I also want to thank Annie Brody, where's Annie? And the Crandell Theatre for hosting this event. We are truly honored to be here. So the way it's going to run today is after we get off the stage, we're going to watch the films. We have a little presentation to our winners with Peter Taylor, and then we're going to have a great panel with Catherine Taggi and some amazing panelists. So thank you for being here amid COVID to watch these very exciting films from our young people. So thank you.
I think when the affordable housing plan comes out, we can get the whole community together.
We need to broaden our perspectives, especially if we want this town to grow and not stagnate and we don't want our school to close. We don't want our downtown to be dead. We want to afford the opportunity for our town to flourish.
That was inspiring, I have to say. I think we all are an appreciation of the filmmakers in terms of putting their views and their conviction out on the film. It takes courage to put your ideas out there, and I just want to acknowledge that again. Let's give another round of applause to the filmmakers. I'm Peter Taylor, and I have the privilege of being the president of Berkshire Taconic Community Foundation. And the purpose of Berkshire Taconic is to build stronger communities by making sure that there's opportunity and a high quality of life for everyone who lives in the region we serve. And we became increasingly concerned last year of the evidence I think we all see of how our communities are being divided rather than unified. There are forces and trends that are driving us apart rather than pulling us together. And this is a region where we have historically, and we continue to see every day, people coming together to get things done. We're in the midst of the beautiful Crandell Theatre here. That's only possible because a group of citizens have come together over many years to preserve this space as a place where people come together to learn and to enjoy good art and to get to know one another. And so we were concerned about the divides that were increasingly evident to us because of political polarization, income inequality, divisions around race and class and gender. And so we wanted to do something about it. So we started the Bridging Divides Healing Community Initiative, which has a couple of components, including the Film Challenge. We've done small grants, 2 rounds of small grants that really are putting things in motion because of the leadership of community-based organizations that are bringing people together because they have something in common and they're deepening their relationships and trust around that, or they're bringing people together who might have different points of view on issues. And so we've done small grants, and we're on our 2nd round, and it's exciting to see the range of projects and the perspectives and the leaders that are coming forward. We also did a speaker series last year where we held up both national and regional views around the political process and journalism and social media and the historical trends, as well as the perspectives of leaders that were doing this work in our communities every day. And as we are celebrating today, the Youth Film Challenge is a component, and as we just witnessed, it's such an important component because we wanted to make sure that there was an opportunity for young people to lift up their voice and to have it be amplified through film. Why is that important? I think we know it, but I'll say it. It's because their perspectives matter. They are the doers of today and the leaders of tomorrow. And we really need to be able to listen to them and learn from them as we just did through these 8 wonderful films. And so I'm going to join now with Catherine and Dominic and Diane to acknowledge and celebrate the 2 winners. And I'm going to turn it over to Catherine. I'm sorry, to Diane or to Catherine. But while I'm passing the baton, I do want to just add, as Diane did at the start, a couple of thank yous. And first I want to thank my colleagues Justin and Betsy who are here with me today. Their persistence and just resolve to get this done was incredible to do, and so I just want to thank them. And I also want to acknowledge the collaboration that's come together between the Civic Life Project and Berkshire Film and Media. This region has such talent and expertise in the nonprofit community, and these 2 organizations are just exceptional. And if you've not gotten to know them, I really encourage you today and after to get to know these 2 organizations because they're really holding up the process of filmmaking both as an important vehicle for expression, but also in the Berkshire Film and Media's perspective, an important anchor for economic development in the region. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Catherine and Diane to celebrate the winners.
Okay, great. Thank you, Peter. It's been our pleasure to be in partnership with Berkshire Taconic Community Foundation as well. 2 things. If you have supported a filmmaker, been a parent, a advisor, Gretchen Rennell Court is in one of our judges is here today. Could you just please stand for a second, even if you're a friend supporting a filmmaker that's here today? Yes, you should stand too. Thank you so much. So first, we have 2 of our winners here today. Danny Wilkinson from Mount Everett, who did Self-Image. Why don't you come up on stage, Danny? So just from the judges' perspective, some of the comments, the judges are listed in the program. They really appreciated that from the male perspective, what self-image was today in these days, and also that Danny told a story with wit and very concisely without using any words. You got the story exactly, and it was quite unique. So congratulations, Danny. Here's your check. Here, squeeze in here and photo op. That's why, yep.
Check off.
Let's go this way. Thank you. Actually, just stay up here. Yeah. Are you part of, I think you're part of the panel. Tommy Tranfaglia, who's our second place winner, is at Endicott College, and I don't think he managed. I told him it was okay to stay and do his finals instead of coming to the screening today. But we are thrilled that Jonas Etta, the grand prize winner, is here from Simon's Rock and Falls Village, Connecticut. So please join us on stage. The judges were unanimous. Yona's film got 4.8 out of 5 points. They thought that the documentary was complete. It talked about a topic that really is important today and still needs to be talked about, and it really was a great documentary film. So congratulations, Jonah. Yona, come on. In.
No moving.
So I think I'm going to turn it over to this is Dominique Lasour, who's part of Civic Life Project, and we're trying to figure out how our two organizations can continue working in the future because we had so much fun. So we're going to leave it in Catherine's capable hands, and the panelists, if you would please join us up on stage, and we'll have the discussion with the filmmakers. There will also, if there's time, be an opportunity for the audience to ask some questions as well.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you all for coming. Really, this is an expression of real community gathering and important to support the young filmmakers that have produced these films. Giving them voice is so important because we have so much to learn from them. And so I'm really delighted to have two of our filmmakers and thrilled to have 4 really distinguished panelists. I'm going to read very briefly their bios, and you'll excuse me for reading, but not good at memorizing. So we have Carolyn Anklem. Carolyn is a Chief Equality Officer for CORC, an advocate and resource for individuals who experience disabilities and their families in Columbia County, providing comprehensive services to children and adults. Anklem also serves on the board of the Columbia County Habitat for Humanity. Welcome. Mike Steed, who I haven't met yet. Hello. Mike is an assistant principal at the Chatham Middle School and has served for the past 2 years as Chatham's Instructional Innovation Coach, where he worked closely with faculty, students, district-wide to find innovative ways to strengthen teaching and learning. Steed was instrumental in helping 4th grade graders create a 30-second public service announcement on fire exits for the Crandell Theater, which we all had the pleasure of seeing. Welcome. And John Hoffman. John is a 6-time Emmy Award-winning filmmaker whose documentary films and series regularly air on HBO and Discovery. His recent work includes the biographical film Fauci and The Antidote, a documentary that weaves together stories of kindness, decency, and the power of community in America. Really well worth watching that film. Welcome, John. And finally, Diem Vo is a filmmaker and professor of film and media at Bard College at Simon's Rock in Great Barrington. He previously taught at the University of Buffalo and Virginia Tech, where he co-developed the filmmaking program. Vo is board chair at the Post-Growth Institute, a nonprofit organization working to enable collective well-being beyond economic growth. Welcome, Jim. Okay. So I thought we would hear from the filmmakers first. And so Danny, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about why you decided to make this film and what you were trying to, tell us why you decided to make the film.
Okay. So the reason I wanted to make the film in the first place is because my teacher at Mount Everett told her class about the film contest, and I really like film and making film, and so I thought it would be a really cool thing to do. And it's something that would send a good message, which I thought was nice. And the film, I think, is a good representation of people seeing unrealistic standards of body image on social media and the internet, and just how people shouldn't have to worry about what they look like to feel normal.
Was it difficult for you to make this film?
Sometimes, yes. A few of the things were challenging to think of. Like I was the only one working on it, so some parts were difficult to film alone. But not really. I enjoyed it a lot, and I thought it was a lot of parts came pretty easy.
I thought it was a very courageous film to make, and one that surprised me because we've seen many of these youth films, and this is the first time we've had one looking at male body image, and so really congratulations.
Thank you.
Yom, can you tell us a little bit about why you made the film?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I've lived in my town, Falls Village, for most of my life, and so I went to the public middle school and elementary school, and I've seen there was always a threat that the school could be closed because there was just not enough kids in the town. And that is really, like the film said, due to the lack of affordable housing for new people to come in who maybe can't afford bigger houses with bigger plots of land. And so when I heard about the film challenge, I thought this was a very fitting thing to talk about specifically for my town, and it could maybe make some change. But also I think it's something that a lot of people around the country, around the world can also relate to, because it sounds like a lot of other towns and other counties are having big issues with affordable housing. So I thought it would be a very fitting worldwide accessible issue to talk about.
Yeah, wonderful film, wonderful.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Well, I wondered if the panelists might have some questions for our filmmakers and or some comments from certainly from a couple of the people who have taught.
Well, I'll go first. What I really appreciate about these two winners is they illustrate very different uses of documentary as personal expression and also really sort of an objective look at a problem in a community. And so it's very fitting, I think, that each were given an award because it demonstrates the breadth of expression that can happen in the documentary form. So I just want to acknowledge that as part of what's going on here, and the sort of clearly the inspiration that you're trying to give through this program to children, to young adults, to explore all of the range of documentary. Also, I think it's just so exciting to see that in your hands you have all of the tools you need. You can be shooting these films, you can gather the music, you can edit them, and so it's not unusual that that's available to young people now. But it's just so great that self-expression has such sort of the tools are so available for self-expression, and that documentary is interesting to young people to explore. So I applaud this project tremendously.
Yeah, as an educator who's been teaching for a long time and is now in administration, and I think it's a great way of seeing how you can blend the different subject areas into it's such an amazing medium for really kind of giving students voice and really blending all the things they need to learn at school and then having a way to showcase it. And I think that this is a great example of that. And in the Chatham Central School District, we have our seniors do a very similar type of project. It's called the Capstone Project, where they kind of take their own voice. And I was just struck as I was watching that, boy, when you put it in a film and you can replay it and you can see it, it's really powerful. And you guys did a great job. So well done.
Thank you. I was quite impressed by the scope of issues that were raised in the different films and how it's clear to me from this that there are young people who are extremely interested in improving community, in improving their lives, in taking care of each other in their communities by being cognizant of issues such as self-image or such as where do people live and how do they live. I heard a comment before the film started about how these film festival winners could be shared with schools. And I think that's a critical thing to do going forward. Conversation about all of these issues is significantly important. And it's where things start to change. If people can sit down and see something that makes them talk and think, For myself, the film about pronouns made me consider that's a very simple thing that I can do. It's important to people, and I think that it is part of dignity and respect for all of us. But each of the films has an opportunity to raise awareness and to begin conversation, and hopefully from those conversations to create the change on a community basis, because it's simple to change a community. It's important to change a community. And then by community upon community upon community, we impact the rest of society. So I really appreciate all the work that went into all of these films, and I congratulate you on being able to produce such fine work. And again, I hope that it educates a lot of other people as well.
Yeah, kudos and congrats to both of our filmmakers here. I think as watching Yona's film, I was really struck by how, although 95% of the material feels very local, I think I felt like that line being maintained between a national problem and a local expression of it was really being maintained, and I think that was just held really well. So congrats there. Often I think these issues, they just feel like such macro level, headline level kind of things, and it's just really wonderful to see it play out on screen. And Danny's film, I think a lot of folks have kind of talked about the kind of male angle. Another piece that I just found really interesting about your film is that I think, we're so surrounded by images that kind of come from, people using their cameras, right? And I think just kind of more on a reflexive kind of meta level, we have both kind of a kind of a flipping of the camera into kind of less perfect, intimate moments, then also like on a filmmaking level too, right? It's almost like this one-person film, transparent thing that you just kind of showed us. So I think as I kept watching this, I kept really thinking about just the illusion and the relation to.
Dan, can you hold the mic closer to you?
Sure. And just kind of the, I think every person's relation to the camera in these two. So kudos and congrats, and I don't know if either of you would like to speak on any of those points, especially kind of turning the camera on yourself and, just keeping that national local link.
Great. I wonder, one of the things that struck me about these films and having been involved in getting more of these films done by young people is, and you all brought it up, is this idea that these pieces are conversation openers. And I am interested in knowing, how do you think that how can we as a group with films like this get them out into the community, create these kind of community conversations about these issues? Because those conversations are really powerful and can affect change. So have you thought of some ideas of how you might show these films, or do what you could do to get the conversation going?
I mean, when I first put out my film, I sent it out to my town's Facebook group because I kind of mentioned to some people who I wanted to interview about it, but not everyone knew. And so I tried to do that because I thought it maybe would be a good idea. Because I know there's some people in my town who maybe don't know the full scope of the issue or what's going on. So I think like documentary film, because it's a really raw way of expressing your own thoughts or showing an issue, that it could help people who maybe hadn't had as much exposure to this issue in my town. And so I hope it's done that. I'm not sure yet, but that I know there's been some more community conversation that has been sparked from my film. I had some people tell me that, so that was very exciting to hear.
Do you have some thoughts?
Yeah, I think social media is a really good way to help spread the messages of films like these. You can share it very easily and send it to everybody you know, and it can help a lot of people think about everything. And I put my film on YouTube, so any person could just watch it.
The panel, do you feel like there is, I was thinking of ways that we can actually build conversation around these films? For example, in the colleges, or in the libraries, local libraries, to bring these issues is there's not a way to sort of get this conversation going.
Well, I'll just, since COVID, what we've seen in our school is just the need. One of the good things is that, teachers using a lot more, needing video, right? Needing to use those to help, whether they're remote or in person. The videos become a kind of a critical component, whether it's, something for math or something for history. And I think what we're seeing and what we're doing, we're trying to kind of turn, me and the administrator in my building, is using these to be able to share with, like, a lot of the student perspective on things, because it's a tough time for teachers too. But, sometimes they're so focused on what they're doing, they're missing that voice of the students and what the students are really going through. In the last, 2 years, it's been very traumatic. So we're actually using kind of some of those student voices and kind of using film to get to our faculty, and so they can reflect and be really like, and I think your films do a great job of that, getting people to kind of think, and using that in the classroom and getting teachers and within our small community, I think is a great way to share this. And one of our students, I think her film, she's a Chatham student, and we could, sharing that with teachers, getting teachers to use it in the classroom to create those conversations, around how you're feeling and just to make increase awareness, I think, is just something small that can be done.
I agree. I think there's plenty of places and spaces where the films can be used. Columbia County Habitat, we're engaging with different communities on the affordable housing issue. I think that each town could certainly do that film and understand some of the mechanisms and how to approach the diverse commentary they're going to hear as they go through the process of looking for places and spaces to create affordable housing going forward. I think the films about school life and images of teenagers and what they're dealing with and use of social media and how it affects their lives, absolutely in school systems, to help start those conversations and provide that support to students to talk about what they're experiencing, but also to teach each other how to get over that, how to get beyond it and how to stop things where people are being put down because of body image or using social media and thinking that it is the end all and be all. I was very encouraged at the end of the one film when young man Griffin said, we just need to put it down and start talking to each other. And that is truly a step we all need to take for any of these issues that we see in the world today. And the other part, Tom's film, I think certainly would be of interest to school boards and school districts. And the fact that at the end of his film, he gave a list of things that we can do next, and none of them cost him money. They just cost us paying attention and talking to each other and sitting down and figuring it out.
Everything that everyone has mentioned, and I would just add that I think the importance of kind of regional film events and festivals like this, I think especially just kind of a regional umbrella to kind of bring really localized stories, events, in dialogue with each other.
Great. My last question to Jon and Danny is, what do you think is the role of your generation in bridging divides and healing communities? I mean, what do you feel is your generation's role in terms of doing that?
I mean, I think, like some of the films said, we're youth, we're going to be the next generation, we're going to be the change makers in many years, and so I think it's important that we're the ones who are now actively stepping forward and trying to make a better future, not just for us, but for the generations that are currently here. And so I think, what else was the question? Was it? I think it's really important for youth to have that voice. I think this film festival is a great way for other generations to uplift the voices of youth.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's good for everybody to be able, in their generation, to look at these things and learn so that everybody as a group can grow from it.
Yeah, I Does anyone in the panel have anything to say in terms of how we might support our youth? What kind of things can we do to support our youth, this next generation that has to solve all these massive problems?
I think one of the key things is that we need to include them. So when we're having board meetings and other sort of community events, we need to make sure that we engage with our youth and bring them to the table and have that conversation and listen to what they're saying.
I wanted to turn this over to the audience and ask if anyone has a question.
Yeah, I want to ask the filmmakers how do you experience the divide that's happening in this country now? How does it affect you? How does it affect you? How do you see it?
I think you can see it everywhere on social media with people constantly posting exaggerated or not real photos of themselves and trying to get a big following from unrealistic images and things like that.
Yeah, I think like thinking about it now, a lot of the issues I brought up that are more like town related, also relate to the bigger picture. I think like specifically, one of the interviewees was talking about how it's not the actual housing crisis that has created this divide. It is the misinformation that's being spread. And I think that kind of fits into what you were saying about like having this place where we can spread all this misinformation, and that being the cause of the divide. I think that's what we're also seeing a lot in our current world as a whole. The law is not about between two people, but it's about between people and the misinformation that's put out there and what they're reading. And so I was hoping that my film could maybe bridge that divide over the misinformation and be spreading some true information from people who live in the town.
Anyone else in the audience have a question to ask our panel or filmmakers? Oh, yes. Yes.
I was wondering how you guys chose, like, what topics you were going to do it on.
I chose my topic because I felt like it was something that you could really easily convey through film, and I feel like it's something that everybody has experienced once in their life.
Yeah, I chose this topic because I thought it was very timely and also something that a lot of people have experienced or maybe don't know what's happening in their own town, and I thought maybe this topic, this video could help bring that up and bring that conversation in other towns as well.
Anyone else? Yes. Could you hold on until someone gives you a mic over here, this gentleman?
I was wondering, I was struck by the fact that all of the films make some kind of social commentary, and all, with the exception of the animated film, were documentaries. And I wondered if that was the charge given to the kids or the contestants, or whether you received submissions that were also more like features or just kind of stories, or how that came about.
No, this was open. Students could make films in any format they wanted to. They had to be within 6 minutes. We only received one animation, and this is the one that you saw. All the others were documentaries, and no one did a narrative in a, with actors or anything like that.
Does that strike you as interesting or odd, or that you wouldn't have received any narrative stories?
Well, no, I think we were really focusing on documentary. I think that even though we were open, I think the directions felt more for documentary. We're looking for more for documentaries. I think we need to wrap this up. It's a while, work, and thank you so much, panelists, for coming and taking the time to be here with us. And thank you, Berkshire Taconic Community Foundation, for making this happen. someone didn't hear, all the films will be on the Youth Film Challenge website, youthfilmchallenge.com. So please, and these films are free. If you can show them in your public library, create little town meetings around these films, that's important to really continue the conversation, because that's what we need to do. We need to talk to each other about all these issues. And maybe the filmmakers will come to some of those meetings. Thank you very much.
I really thought that was very clever.
Good job, yep.
First of all, you can't really use that at the bank, but you can use this one at the bank.
My name is Daniel Wilkinson. I am from Sheffield, Massachusetts, and my film is about body image.
Do you have body issues?
Not really. I have wanted to feel better about my body at points, but overall, no.
You opened with images of a six-pack of abs.
Yeah, I was trying to show how people can look at the internet, like Instagram, and see everybody with these bodies and feel like they should look like that and they want to look like that, and how them trying to get that can hurt themselves in the process.
So what's next for you?
I think I'm just gonna do small things for my YouTube channel, because that's what I really like doing. I don't think I'll be doing much that has a good, like a message like self-image, but I will be doing a lot of film like things because I really like making film.
Do you foresee that as a career or just
yeah, I would like to pursue a career in filmmaking.
How do you hope to do that initially after you go to a college that has fine arts?
Yeah, I do want to take film in college, and I also plan to just try to grow a small audience through YouTube for what I like to make.
Good man.
Thank you.
Ooh, definitely gonna put all of this in savings, probably for school payments, and maybe some new film equipment. I think that'd be very fitting for this money, but definitely gonna go in my savings account for my school and my future endeavors. My name is Jonas Adet. I'm from Falls Village, Connecticut, and I made this film on affordable housing. I made this because I grew up in Falls Village for most of my life, and going to the elementary school there, I could really see there was like a very urgent need for new students in school, new teachers, and there just wasn't a lot of people. There was many times where the school was threatened to close because we just didn't have enough people. And Falls Village is a really beautiful place that is I'd really love everyone to experience. And the issue is there's just a lot of really big houses that either need a lot of work or just are a lot of money to buy, and they're on big plots of land, so it's not a viable option for people to live. If you're like a family with kids, you obviously don't want a huge house, and you also don't want a big piece of land to have to manage, or older people who maybe can't go up a long gravel road, or like all that stuff. And so I think affordable housing is really an important issue in Falls Village, because it's gonna, the availability of affordable housing in my town is gonna it's going to depend, by the longevity of my town, and how long it lasts, and how much it grows will depend on affordable housing and the availability of it. So I think it was a really important issue for me to touch on. It felt like a very personal issue because I live in Falls Village and I care about it as a town.
But you don't live in affordable housing per se.
I don't, no. But I know there's a lot of people who could really benefit from affordable housing, who maybe want to come and work to be a teacher in school because there's a lack of teachers, or be a student in school. Both schools in Falls Village are really great, small schools with a lot of opportunities, and I think like a lot of local students could benefit from going there.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
and congratulations. Keep it going, brother.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm Peter Taylor, and I'm president of Berkshire Community Foundation. And our organization is about building stronger communities that are full of opportunity and a quality of life for all residents. And so we did this film challenge because, in the face of all the divisions that we are experiencing across politics, race, class, and gender. We wanted to create an opportunity for young people to share stories about how the community was addressing issues where there are different points of view, and also where they were overcoming differences to achieve common goals, feeling that this is a region that historically has gotten things done by working together, and that type of heritage is important to continue. Also, young people and the leadership that they can bring and what we can learn from their perspectives are so important. They are assets in our communities, they are resources in our communities, and so most importantly, this project is about lifting up and amplifying their voice at this moment in time.
So we had the privilege of producing the Bridging Divides Healing Communities Youth Film Challenge together, Berkshire Film and Media Collaborative
and the Civic Life Project. And really, we learned so much about the community beyond our area that we know in Northwest Connecticut. So this was really fun to work on together.
It was. And it was a little harrowing toward the end because we didn't know how many films would actually come in. I think we only had 2 till about a week and a half before, but we were thrilled with the quality of films at a time when sort of can be hard to motivate kids to do things outside of school. So we were just thrilled with the topics that the young people chose, the depth of their knowledge, and we think actually the reel is going to live on for a while.
Yeah,
and
we learned so much from those films. For example, the she, him, her, the
he, she, they.
He, she, they. I thought was fantastic. I mean, the film really, answered a number of questions that some of us have, and made things very clear. And I thought there's so much to learn from these young people.
Is this the first annual of many to come? Or a few to come?
We don't know.
I don't know. There's talk of it. If somebody wants to fund it, we're happy to do it.
Okay.
All right, we're good to go?
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, my friend.
Carolyn, thank you.
Oh, so fun.